Without further ado, let me break down exactly how I got my first real estate wholesaling deal over $25,000. Absolutely changed my life. And I'm here to show you exactly how I did it step by step. So without further ado, let's break it down. So I think the first thing we got to understand about my first real estate wholesaling deal, let's kind of break down a little bit about it, right? So number one, I was 17 years old during this time. So this was in 2017. So good times, old times for me. It sounds like the good old days, you know. I remember sunny in the old times. We used to do this. And the guys, 17 years old, high school kid, always fun looking at it. So just a background on this, I was working about 39 hours a week as a bag boy, which means doing like a bunch of other stuff. So what this means was, as a bag boy, I was bagging groceries. I was sometimes a cashier, and I was cleaning toilets, scrubbing floors, closing out the store every night. Not fun. You know, I was basically working 2 to 11 and midnight shift. It was never fun. And sometimes I was able to get off of that, break it, do my other stuff. But for most nights, it was 2 to 11 if I didn't have like my high school stuff I had to do. And we're obviously work the weekends. Why not, right? You know. So basically, I was a full-time high school student also. I think that's one thing a lot of people didn't understand when I got my first deal is like, I'm not a kid that has all this time in the world in the summer doing this. Like I did stuff. Now, obviously, it's not the stress of a full-time job, but like working a job, doing school as a high school athlete, quote unquote, per se, which means I was doing high school wrestling practices. I was doing volunteering after. I always found time to do everything. You know, I never made anything an excuse. I always found time. And I feel like for a lot of people, if I can do this, like you can too. I about $300 in my bank account. All my money back then kind of went to my first car, which was a 2004 Honda Accord. That was my baby. Oh, love that thing. There's no shocks in that car. So very fun times. But that's where I was pulling up on my first couple deals. 2004 Honda Accord. Definitely a very, very fun vehicle. But that was basically all my money. You know, kind of expensive. 17-year-old kid with this stuff. But it was so fun. So basically at my job, I hit a breaking point. And I feel like a lot of you guys out here have felt this or can even relate to this to a point. But I hit a breaking point. I was sick of working that job. I kept very disrespectful. Like I was getting extremely disrespected at the job. You know, fun story. I was actually never allowed to work as a grocery clerk when I was 17 because they didn't think I was good enough. I didn't follow directions good enough, or I didn't have the skill set. You know, I guess I wasn't smart enough for them. I don't even know, but pretty fun, you know. But I didn't like that. I was obviously being paid minimum wage. Why would I get a raise in 3 years at that place? Because, you know, obviously I'm not worth it to them. And I was just sick of working that job. And I looked at the managers, you know, the managers were making around 60K a year, maybe 80K a year now. You know, I mean, that was 5 years ago. And I kind of saw like they were working 50, 60 hours a week. A lot of them were working off the clock, all that stuff, but not a traditional office job per se. But I knew what the heights of that would have been if I stayed. And making $80,000 a year now, working 60 hours a week, seems like torture. Just like being completely honest, it sounded like complete torture to me and something that I don't think I deserved. I don't think that was something that could have helped me of where I wanted to be in my life. And definitely not for the goals I had in life, you know. So it is definitely not something I knew there's better options. So let me kind of explain my plan of action, how I actually learned about wholesaling real estate, all this stuff. So a lot of you guys might not know this, but my dad was actually a real estate wholesaler. He's a pretty good real estate wholesaler back then too. He's been wholesaling since 2003. So he's got quite a lot of years under his belt. So that's I definitely did very well for himself. And he always had wholesaling checks on his desk, 20, 30, 40K. And always impressive. And obviously I was never part of that business. Never knew if I was going to, I never expected to do real estate in my life. But at the end of the day, I was like, wow, like I'm so sick of my job. See him doing his checks. I'm like, hey, can you show me how to do wholesaling? And he basically said, hey, Zach, if you want to learn wholesaling, be legit, you got to do your deals by yourself. And then that's the best way to learn. I was like, you're just not going to show me? And he's like, no, do your own deals and get it done yourself. And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. So I went to his library, read a bunch of real estate wholesaling books, all from 2004 and 3. So great, great knowledge back then. And at the end of the day, I pretty much learned with $300 in my bank account. I didn't have much options. And I feel like an old timer saying this. And I know y'all are going to roll your eyes, but it's like, I didn't know what a pre-foreclosure was. It literally took me a year into real estate wholesaling for me to even learn what I didn't know what pre-foreclosure was until a year later. I didn't know about drawing for dollars. I didn't know about reverse drawing for dollars. I didn't even know about cold calling. I didn't know about virtual. Like, I went on YouTube, search wholesaling real estate. What do you think popped up? Like, why do you think, guys, I'm so against gurus and I hate gurus so much? Because I went to search how to find deals. Guess what those deals are? Just take a guess. Oh, get a deal by finding a seller. And they're like, but if you want to learn how to find a seller, here's my $4,000 mentorship program. And I was like, are you like every single real estate wholesaling video in like early 2016, 17 was just, it was all guru fest, right? Like there's no free knowledge out there. Like no one is giving out a free game back then. And it sucks. And I didn't learn any knowledge from that. And basically I had to go to a real estate book from the 2003 that my dad paid $20 for. And it changed a lot for me. And basically I learned, hey, Bandit Signs, right? Like that was the only thing I could think of, right? And I spent all my money basically buying like 150-ish Bandit Signs. So if you guys are wondering why, again, I'm so against these gurus paying courses and things and buying courses, because I wasn't able to do that. And there's just no reason why you should too either when you got all this free knowledge. And that's why I do all these lives, because I just imagine like, hey, Zach, if I had a Zach Ginn back then who just I could talk to one-on-one, oh my gosh, like that would have changed, like that would have changed the world for me. And I want to be that person that like Rick was to me, to you guys for free. And no one does that still, even to this day. No one will hop on one-on-one and talk to people. No one will give us free knowledge. And like, first of all, that's why I do what I do. I'm still the only one person, and hopefully in 10 years, there's more than me. But it's ridiculous. So I didn't have all that knowledge, right? That was my problem. So where's my course of action, right? Bandit signs. Those are the We Buy Ugly Houses type signs. And I actually have a picture of one of the first bandit sign batches I ever put out. So I will show you what that was. So it's always fun. But I basically had them print them at a local print shop. It's like $1.52 with the stake on it too. So that was pretty good. Black on white, and that was it. So let me show you what it actually looks like. So this is the first batch of Bandit Signs I've ever put out. So this is probably a year after I got like a year into wholesaling. You know, I graduated high school by then. And then I had people putting Bandit Signs out, and they just took pictures of the Bandit sign just to prove that it was put out. But I had like some old ones laying out, and I had them use them. So this is what my first deal Bandit sign looked like. Pretty simple, right? I had the guy do the graphic for me. But it said, sell your house fast, cash in 7 days. That was it. Like that's what the Bandit sign looked like. Pretty cool, right? So that is what I did when I was starting out. It was kind of by a sidewalk. There was a street on the other end. Pretty good grass. I'm in Florida. No, nothing crazy, but this is what I had. Like that was it. So FYI, if you want a visualizer of me with my first deal, pretty fun. So here are my results on my first deal. So after about 2 days, I got 4 calls. I think I put them out on a Saturday because I had a high school wrestling tournament. And so I started putting them outside the high school on a Saturday. And that was always fun. I was all sweaty, just putting it all out. But that's how I actually found out, where I just put them outside the high school wrestling tournament. And luckily for me, the stop signs outside the high schools were very busy points. No one's doing Bandit signs. And it worked really well for me. So I got 4 calls in about 2 days. And I had about 2 tire kickers call me. They didn't really want to sell the property too much. So not really a good deal there, right? I had 1 decent lead. Someone that kind of wanted to sell, but like they kind of backed out the last minute. Not really a big deal. And I had 1 desperate seller. And let me try to explain this desperate seller more or less. So trying to really like try to visualize like how I got this first deal. So you can kind of visualize it for yourself. But I was legitimately in my, so I was sitting there in my high school history class. I remember it so vividly. Um, great times. I think we're talking about Napoleon. But high school history class, okay? I'm sitting there and I got 3 calls, and then this is like a Monday, okay? So I'm sitting there, I think around like 10, 11 a.m. And I'm sitting there, and then my phone's buzzing in my pocket. I'm like, it goes buzz, buzz. I'm like, hmm. So, I mean, obviously, most of you guys went through high school, and you know how boring it is. They're just like sitting there. And then I kind of like peek at my phone. I'm like, it says, and then it was my Bandit Sign number. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a Bandit Sign call. Oh my gosh, it's a Bandit Sign call. What do I do? And so I legit, like, I didn't know what to do. I was so excited, right? And so I just, I had an iPhone. I was like, hello? And I legit during class, and the guy's like, you need to get out of here. And I got kicked out of class. And so I kind of put on mute while the guy was screaming at me. Oh, you can't do doing this in class, whatever. Get out of here. We're not doing this. So I get kicked out of class, grab my stuff, run out. And I'm like, hey, hold on a second. And then I go out there. I'm in the hallway talking to the seller. Okay. And he says these magic words. I'm walking out to my car so I can talk in the car. Hall monitors, administrators, if they saw you on the phone in the hallway, it's over, right? So always fun times. Very risky times I'm doing it. High school is really trying to help me out. So go to my car and I'm talking to the seller. He's like, hey, I lost my job. I'm an engineer. I'm getting a new job out of state. I just need to sell this house. I need some work. I want to get rid of it. And I'm like, okay, well, what price do you want to sell it for? And he's like, well, just go meet me in the house. I'm like, okay. And so I decided to meet him at like 3 hours later. So like roughly 2 to 3 o'clock. I have like 2 other classes. I'm like, screw it. Right. So I go home and my parents are like, why are you here? You got school, right? And I'm like, no, I got a deal. Right. I'm going to get a deal. So I run out. I saw print out a contract, and I'm like, I'm running out of the contract in my hand. And then my dad, Rick, he's like, you can't get this deal. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Let me go get this deal. He's like, no, you're not getting this deal. I'm like, why? He's like, you're 17. You're a minor. You legally can't sign a contract. I'm like, what? And I'm like, but I did all this. Like, I put the Bandit Signs. I spent all my money. I did. He's like, well, I need to go out with you and actually sign it for you because I'm over 18. You legally in Florida can't do this. I'm like, what? And so he basically said, hey, you know what? I know you're supposed to get a deal by yourself, but let me go out with you. Maybe I'll give you some authority because you got an older dude, right, with money that comes with me. And he's like, I'll sign it for you. You're doing all the talking. I'm like, fine. So we drive up to the deal, and he literally just said, the guy's just like, he says, oh, hey, he's just, hi, the kid. He's like, oh, he thinks fine. He's like, shakes my dad's hand. And he's like, oh, so you're Zach, right? And he's like, no, this is Zach. And then my dad just goes mute. Like, the guy tries talking to my dad because obviously he thinks he's older. He's the guy. And then he's like, no, he's Zach. He's the guy you're talking to. I'm like, oh, geez. He's actually worse there without, because he went mute on purpose for me. And so talking to the guy, and we basically go in the appointment and visualize this. I mean, I think y'all remember being 17 years old, how dumb. I'm just saying it. Like, how dumb and immature you were back then. I'm still dumb and immature now. I mean, talk to a guru. I'll always tell you that about me. But I didn't know anything about real estate. That's legitimately, I could swear to you guys, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know what flooring looked nice. I couldn't tell you what a roof leak was. Like, I see a brown spot on the roof. I'm like, oh, it's a brown spot. Like, just think of like a 15, 16-year-old kid. Like, we don't know. Okay. I didn't know anything. And it was rough. Okay. Like, this is my first month, like, in anything. Like, this is my first month. Okay. Like, they don't teach ARV on these YouTube. The gurus don't teach it. It's in their course, bro. It's in their dope course. And I'm like, what? And so I didn't know ARV. I didn't know any of this stuff, so I'm just literally walking in there, and I'm like, and then luckily he's an engineer. He goes out. I'm not telling any like divine intervention came in, but he just told me everything wrong with the house and explained it to me. And I'm like, yeah, the roof is leaking. Yeah. He's like, yeah, there's some mold here. The spigot's leaking. I'm like, yeah, the spigot is leaking, huh? And it's just funny, like how it all like worked out for me perfectly. I had a lot of, I knew this. I had a false sense of confidence. I walked in there like I knew everything. I've been a contractor for 47 years, and I'm part of the union, and I know everything about real estate, right? And my oh my, like he honestly, I'm just telling you straight up what happened. He just walked in, showed me what was wrong with the house. We kind of at the end of the kitchen, and I basically explained like, hey, how like I this is the only thing I knew in real estate was from these books. At least generally everyone knows it. Just don't say the price first, right? It's pretty simple. Like most people know that. So at the end of the day, I'm just like, well, I don't know we didn't talk about it over the phone, but like, how much do you want to sell the house for? I'm telling you right now, when I was having these conversations with the seller, there was a bunch of ums, buts. Like it sounded terrible, but like, it doesn't matter, right? Like I had the confidence and I just took the action. It was imperfect action, but I took it. And at the end of the day, I basically said, how much do you sell it for? And he said 60. I'm like, I in my heart, I dropped. My heart rarely drops. I'm pretty chill, dude. My heart like drops. And because I knew, so the Zestimate on there was $150,000. I didn't know ARVs, I didn't know comping, but I'm like, if the Zestimate's 150, I can sell to someone for at least half of the Zestimate, right? Like that's how my brain was. A 17-year-old kid, right? Doesn't know anything, right? I could sell for at least the Zestimate. And this is 2017. Zestimates were pretty spot on. They weren't like stupid high. So it just I don't. It's crazy how this all happened, but basically, I said, I don't know if I can do 60. I mean, can you do 50? I sound like an idiot doing it. And he's like, well, what about 55? I'm like, deal. 55. And then basically had him sign the contract. I had my dad sign on the dotted line. You think I did an EMD? Zero EMD. I had no money, right? And basically put the property under contract. So basically how it worked, more or less, seller went to sell for 60, locked up for 55, sold for 80 to a cash buyer. And now everyone, you can make fun of me, whatever I want. Guess who the cash buyer on the deal was? It was Rick. And he basically bought the property from me for 80. So left me 25K profit. He later sold the deal for 125,000 and he made a lot more money on the deal than me. But hey, no big deal, right? I think I got a percentage of that profit too, but like it was a good deal for him. That's all I can tell you. Okay. And ended up doing pretty well. We both made money on the deal, and I didn't really know how to do cash buyer. So I think it worked out well. Now, y'all can go make fun of me, whatever you want on it, but like I made money, he made money. A cash buyer would have paid 80 for it. Just it made it pretty simple. And he technically already did the walkthrough on it. So pretty fun, it just is very fun. So at the end of the day, I spent that $25,000. I basically bought 1,000 more Bandit signs, and I did around 5 more deals. So I did about 6 deals in 6 months, my first 6 months before I graduated high school. And at the end of the day, made about 100K before I graduated high school, 18 years old, and changed my life forever. Just started scaling the Bandit signs from there, and kind of the rest is history, right? Went out to college, did my virtual wholesaling by myself. Eventually came back and like doing wholesaling, but I was still living with my parents. So I was like, well, why don't we just work together? And me and my dad partnered up, and now we run the largest real estate wholesaling industry, real estate operation out here. And, the rest is history. So pretty fun. Always fun doing this, but lessons learned. Let me explain the biggest lessons I learned with this. Things that you can have a takeaway from this. That is my story. Like I stick to it. That's generally like that's what happened, right? So the deal worked out very well for me. I ended up quitting my bag boy job, my second deal. Once I got the second deal under contract, I was able, okay, this stuff's legit, right? And I quit my job. And that was probably one of the most satisfying feelings I ever had in my life. That was great. I mean, I'm sorry, but like I've done 3, 4, 5, like I would say my first $600,000 plus deals combined on closing day doesn't even combine the feeling of me getting that resignation sheet at the grocery store and quitting. Like that was best feeling in the world. And I knew my life was pretty much, I knew what I wanted to do from that first deal I ever did. And it was fun, man. And I was working like 7, 8 hours a week doing this. Like it wasn't 39 hours a week. So I was like, I'll work less, I make more money, and actually enjoy what I do. And that basically, it created an insane passion and burning drive I have for this business that me and Rick have. It's hard to find. There's very few people that have a love for this business, um, as me and Rick do. Like I teach wholesaling. I do YouTube on wholesaling. Like, guys, I was the same passionate of this business when I had 15 subscribers, 30 subscribers than I did, now. I just love this. Like, guys, look at my earliest videos. I'm just excited showing you deals just because I love documenting the journey. I love talking about wholesaling. Um, there's no person crazy enough to go live 4 days a week talking about wholesaling real estate, do as many videos as they do. And we don't get paid to do them just because I love this business. And the reason why, to be honest, like why I do these videos, why like I teach all this stuff, because I teach you guys how to do wholesaling. Sometimes you send me more deals. I do more real estate wholesaling deals. Wholesaling real estate's my drug. And if I teach you guys how to wholesale, then you can send me deals, and then I can do more of what I love, which is wholesaling. So let me break down my top lessons I learned in this. So number one, I think this is the biggest one, and very cliche, but if you could do it, if I could do it, you could do it. I know a lot of people like look up to Michael Jordan, and he's great, LeBron James. And LeBron's like, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm like, LeBron, I ain't 6'8", okay? Okay, buddy. I mean, I can't do what you do, buddy. Okay, you're 6'8". Michael Jordan, 6'4". I mean, those guys definitely put a lot of work out there, but I mean, at 6'1", I can be like a Trae Young type guy, I guess. But like, I'm not going to be able to dunk like those guys. So it's really cool because just an average Joe type guy like me at 17 was able to get his first couple of deals. You can easily get your first. Like there's no doubt in my mind you can. There's no doubt in my mind you can't. And today's market, there's way more opportunities for marketing. There's so many opportunities to go out here and actually start wholesaling. Easier to find buyers. The education I provide, like free wholesaling content, it's all there. I kind of learned it the hard way. Virtual wholesaling, all the stuff, all these guys. If I got a live recording of me closing a virtual deal when I started out in virtual, I would have been 10 steps ahead. And it just took me so long to do it. And it's really a blessing that, I mean, we released a free thing I did when I was 19 of me closing a deal yesterday. So at the end of the day, we break it all down, right? And the last thing I think I want to tell you guys is everyone's on their own journey. And I think that's something you got to understand. I got my first deal in under a month, right? Yeah, I made all this money under a year. Don't feel like you have to do the exact thing. A lot of people that make more money than me in wholesaling, they didn't get their first deal like 8 months in, right? Everyone's on a different pace in their life. Only compare yourself. The only thing you should compare is the person you were yesterday. Financially, spiritually, emotionally, like the type of person you are. That's who you should judge yourself for. Don't judge yourself on the comparison of other people. Comparison is the thief of joy. You will only derive stress, anger, emotion from comparing your success with someone else. And that's it, guys. I figured out you got to stay humble. The one thing I did learn about making all this money as an 18-year-old kid is I pretty much stayed humble with it. I was so humbled by working a job like that. I had to stay humble with it. If I was that kid that was getting all flashy, buying all the jewelry, the watches, everyone makes fun. I wear 2 gold chains. I've worn the same gold chains since I was 14 years old. And they have representation for me ever since I was 14. That personal, I'm not going to break that down, but I've worn the same thing basically since I was 14. Maybe I got a little nicer car, maybe a little, everyone brings, oh, Zach, what car you got? Guys, I got a truck. And I've explained that yesterday. Like, I have a truck because I flip houses, but I'm able to live the life of my dreams. I could say I live very, very comfortably. So that's one thing that's cool. And the last thing here is the more deals you do, the easier it becomes to do deals, especially from scratch. What I mean by this is it's kind of a a false reality if you really think about it, but it's the honest truth that it's cliche, but hear me out in the statement. The more deals you do, the easier it is to wholesale real estate. And why is this? A couple theories on it. One which I figured out pretty quick was once I got my second deal, 3, 4, 5, 6 happened so much easier. Was it because I had more money for marketing? Is because I did this? No, pretty much the same amount, 50 Bandit Signs out in a weekend. What was it? I gained more confidence. I knew the entire process and I proved to myself I could actually do this, which meant I was more confident in my process, which means I was able to take more action, do more, basically execute more on my plan and my vision. And at the end of the day, your success in wholesaling real estate basically comes down to devising a plan of action and consistently taking imperfect action to do that plan. And that's why I do my 90-day wholesaling challenge for you guys. That's why we got a 30-day wholesaling challenge coming out in June. It's not about being like the greatest closer of all time. It's just consistently taking that action and doing as much marketing as you can. It's going to be the key. So the more deals you do, the easier. So like if you stop me from going actually out here, like you took all my money and I have to go do a deal, I get a deal done probably under a month easily with like no money, right? You throw me in the middle of a regular market, this would be too easy. But you throw me in Ohio, like just in Columbus, I'll get a deal under probably. I would get a deal locked up within a week. You gave me $0. And the truth is it the money? So if I can do that, I would say my first year, if you gave me $0, I started from nothing. I could probably make about $500,000. And once I get systems in place, I can scale it up. But like, why can I do that within under a year and most people can't, right? It's the knowledge I have in my head, right? It's the confidence I have. I know the process. I talk to sellers, all this stuff. It makes it easier. So it's never about the money. That's the end of the day. So if I can really hammer something home to you guys about wholesaling real estate in my journey is in the real estate industry, and I'll fight, debate, whatever, anyone in this. This is why I love wholesaling. This is why wholesaling is a special place in my heart. That's why I give everything out for free. This is why I believe that every single person should learn wholesaling real estate that wants to gain financial freedom. It is, at the end of the day, there's not one other side hustle business, whatever you want to call it, that could make you all this money with any experience, no discrimination, anything. So wholesaling real estate is the fastest way to legally make $1 million in under a year at any age. And the coolest part about wholesaling real estate is wholesaling real estate does not discriminate. It is the only industry in real estate that does not discriminate. And think about that for a second. If I want to become a realtor at 16 years old, nope, wouldn't let me, right? I can't do that. I want to be a mortgage broker, wouldn't let me, right? No high school diploma. Want to be a realtor? No, you have to have a high school diploma. So your education has to be there. I was 17 and I have a high school diploma, right? Your age, your gender, your height, like you could get discriminated anywhere else. And I know plenty of people that can give light on this, but real estate wholesaling is by far the only industry in real estate that does not discriminate. It is a free market enterprise type, basically system. And the coolest part about a market is a free market does not discriminate on any basis, like on anything. It doesn't care what you look like. It doesn't care how tall you are. You're in a wheelchair. You're blind. It doesn't matter. The only thing a free market will discriminate is if you can provide a good or service for the right price, or if you can find the right price to sell a property for, right? The free market to a point is a contract, right? And real estate investors, cash buyers don't care about you. They care about the contract. So if you can get a property at a discount, you're not going to get discriminated against. It's all numbers, right? And that's the cool part about it. And in real estate wholesaling, I look at the success. You're not getting discriminated from there. Like the only thing you discriminate is how much work and effort you're going to put in. You can put in 1,000 people to start wholesaling real estate. It is 100% of the time. The ones that start doing deals, if I separate the ones that do deals, so if 1,000 people get into wholesaling real estate and 200 of them get a deal within a month and 800 don't, to a T, you can figure this out really quick. The ones that got the deal, they had a plan, they executed it, and they never made excuses, and they consistently marketed. The ones that didn't, 9 times out of 10 didn't do it. And I've gone through so many cycles of people starting out in real estate wholesaling and then quitting and then starting, then quitting, then people starting and doing deals, people starting not doing deals. I've been through this cycle for 5+ years seeing it. And every single time, the ones that have been successful and done it, they were never perfect. They might have not got their first deal within 6 months. But the coolest part about it is the ones that eventually became very, very successful, never quit. They never surrendered. They just always consistently took action and they never stopped marketing. And that's the coolest part. So no, it doesn't matter anything like in wholesaling real estate. You be a broke high schooler like me and do it. I didn't stop. I didn't quit my marketing and I had success. So at the end of the day, guys, think about where you want to be in your life and why you want to do it. Have that why, because that why will push you. Just think about, like, you have a duty right now to go out here and get your first deal and start marketing. So if, for example, if your mom's house is not paid for fully, if she has a mortgage, it's your duty out here to go pay off that house. All right. Go provide for your kids, your family, your wife, your husband. Like it, guys, real estate wholesaling will provide that for you. But you only get what you ask for. And that is the truth. So if you ask to make 100,000 in wholesaling and you do the effort to make 100,000, that's what you'll get. If you want to make $1 million, in wholesaling real estate in under a year, you're going to have to do what it takes to do that. But it is a limiting belief in your head that, like, you can only make 100K in wholesaling. It is. You can easily crush that, right? And you got to understand your why. And every single person on here should have a why, even if it's just to make a bunch of money to flex on people. Okay, I don't care. It's still a why, and that why has pushed me. I'm kind of stubborn to a point, and that's why I do what I do. So at the end of the day, it's like I always visualized, quitting that job, and that helped me that first thing. And then now, like, I have more goals. I have more whys of what I do for things. It gets a little harder, I would say, for wholesaling real estate now for me, of just like a why of my mom's taken care of, make a ton of money. I don't have to work anymore. I got enough passive income with the wholesaling money coming in. But now I'm at a point where I'm just going to flex on these gurus, put them all out of business, change the business, change the way it's being taught, because we're going to have a fun time tomorrow. It's going to be a fun live with Rick, but I see a lot of things changing the wholesaling real estate business where stuff's about to change, and it's going to be fun. So guys, as you know, I'm always going to teach this business for free. I don't care what happens. The coolest part about this is, let's say there's an economic crash, GDP goes down, whatever, and no one wants to pay guru money anymore to buy a course. I'm not going to quit wholesaling. The coaches are the ones that run away, right? They skedaddle. They leave the industry. I do it for free. I make enough money wholesaling. And I know a lot of people have been freaked out lately of, interest rates going up. It's going to go with the market. We'll explain it tomorrow a little more. But first off, I can tell you is Rick has made more money during the real estate downturn than he's ever had during an upturn. And I honestly could tell you right now, there's not one person on YouTube with over 10,000 subscribers that has made money during a downturn. 2005 to 2007 to 2011, no one's made more money than Rick in on this. And we are going to be the ones teaching you it for free. So if you think you're going to go talk to someone who started real estate wholesaling in 2015, 2017, like me, to teach you how to do real estate during a hard market, hard times with higher interest rates, you're screwed, guys. Okay, I'm telling you straight up. So I think that's the biggest value we're going to have during these craziest times is you've only been taught real estate wholesaling from a guru who's only known a market that's gone up. And you kind of saw the chart I did yesterday of how to make money during when a market goes down, sideways, whatever ways. Why don't you talk to a guy that's Rick tomorrow, who has who's made millions of dollars during market crashes in wholesaling real estate, creative finance, all of it. And we're going to teach it all for free. Legitimately, I'm going to say this in the sweetest way possible. I'm probably going to make more money in wholesaling the next 2 years if real estate goes down than I will in the past 3 years. I'll make more money in the next year or two when real estate's going down than I will probably the last 5 years of my life. And that's just, there's so many more opportunities. even if 10% of my competition goes away in Port St. Lucie, which it will, oh, the amount of money is disgusting. And we got a lot of cash on the sidelines ready to go and deploying it for more creative stuff and wholesaling real estate. So we're excited, guys. So we're always here, guys. I wanted to address that really quick. I wanted to hold your hand. I've already told you got me here for probably the next 85 years. So I'm not going away, and I'm going to teach this business for real. I keep it 100. I'm not a dirty, stinking guru, and I'm ready to go.